Hey, what's up everybody? It's Jesus here with the Van Bros. Today we're going to be doing a video that I was talking about, or that I brought up 4 days ago. I made a post on my YouTube community post tab, pretty much saying that I was going to make a video about what Cardfight Vanguard desperately needs. It's been pretty much, a big problem since honestly set 12's release in the States, and not even in the States, just worldwide. Outside of Japan, we need a serious reprint policy because building decks has gotten harder and harder as time goes by, and Bushiroad is not doing anything to make it easier for us to enjoy these decks. A pretty good example with it, I would have to say, is the set 14 dilemma, where set 14 is the first set that has the new case ratios. Pretty much what that means is you're no longer receiving a case, which is, multiple booster boxes. You're no longer receiving a case of like 20 boxes. Now you're receiving a case of 12. Those 8 boxes are then taken, fucking put in a different case. Now you think that by doing something so drastic as removing 8 whole booster boxes from a case, that they would adjust the ratios. Well, that's actually not true at all, because instead what Bushiroad decided to do is just leave the ratios alone. And what do you do when a whole set has 21 triple rares included in them? It is insane what has happened to the game in D alone. Like, if you take a look at like the first set from D, Genesis of the 5 greats, we look at how many triple rares we had. We had 10 triple rares in a booster case, or not booster case, but in the whole set we had 10 triple rares. Granted, we had 5 starter decks that had triple rares in them. So let's add those in, right? Let's say all those triple rares actually were also a part of this main set. That's still 15 cards. That's still 15 triple rares, which is pretty high, but that's why they made the starter decks. Each of the starter decks got a triple rare support, and then each of the new decks in these sets got triple rare boss monsters, and then eventually they got their triple rare support. But even then, the set was pretty great. But I mean, look at BT14, man. We should not be having sets with 21 triple rares included. That's disgusting. Like, I'll say it. There's a few cards here that are like, what you look at them and you think to yourself, why are they even a triple rare to begin with? Like, if we look at the Phantom units on their own, right? We've got Youthberg Phantom, Gabuelius Phantom, Zereth Phantom, Impaldio Phantom, Alcalibur Phantom, and I believe that's it. We only have 5 Phantom units. But then they added more ride lines. They added the Belfiore ride line, so that's a 6th triple rare that we need to have because it's a boss monster. From there, I don't understand why everything else had to be a triple rare. Dynus could have easily been a double R. Maybe make the... Even then, it's like, why are we following so many strict conventions on these booster sets? Why does everything have to be a triple rare that has more than 2 skills? But rant aside, the biggest problem that we have with the card game is We don't know when any of these cards are going to become available again, because Bushiroad doesn't have a proper reprint system. They have had reprint sets in the past, but being completely honest, those reprint sets have been god awful. Like, yes, the Triple R booster set was great, but again, it's a booster. It's half a booster box, so it's got 10 packs in there, and in those 10 packs, you only have 3 cards. Like, at the very least, buy me dinner before you fuck me. Like, that's just all I ask. Like, it's great because it did lower the prices for a bunch of these decks, but the funniest part is that the shit that was not fucking reprinted ended up becoming even more expensive. Like, I think if you wanted to build Youthberg at the time that the Triple R booster set came out, you're still paying quite a bit for Full Blast. What can you do? You're still, you're still fucked. Now, at least you're not paying $70 for a Tempest, but again, the Vanguard market is very strange because it's not a market of scalpers. It's a market of vendors who understand how the game works and just move the price elsewhere. Oh, Tempest got a reprint and it's no longer going to sell for $70. Well, I'll take this $40 Full Blast and up it $30 and now I'll sell it for $70. Am I saying that that's what's going on right now? No, but it's very funny. Let's use Yu-Gi-Oh! For an example, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a bigger card game with more people who play it, and the company, at least prints the sets to fucking hell and high water. So, they release a new deck, right? And this deck just so happens to upgrade an older deck. A perfect example, honestly, is Tenpai from a few years ago. When Tenpai first came out, Trident Dragon, a super fucking niche card. I think the only time you'll ever summon a Trident Dragon before Tenpais were ever shown off was on an Edison match. And even then, it rarely happened. But when Tenpai came out, people noticed that Trident Dragon was a great card that worked with the playstyle of Tenpai. And so, a card game has a fucking... The market for a card game is alive. It's always changing. Yesterday's price is not today's price. And when you see a card that becomes super important for a deck, it's really good, it works, and it makes a deck stronger. But this is an old card from sets ago, and there's a limited quantity of them. Of course the price is gonna go higher. It's supply versus demand. It's up to the company that is creating that desire for that card to then meet that demand if they want to be a good company. So what happens? It's not instant, because obviously there's some time that's needed to see if it's a reprint that's required, and also because a card cannot just be printed the next day. That's not how it works. You have to set up the print sheets, the cut guides, everything. Eventually, Trident Dragon gets an OTS reprint. So if you go to locals, open a pack for just entering the tournament, you have a chance of pulling a lower rarity version of the card that's super popular. Is it always on time? No. But you know for a fact that more often than not, it'll be reprinted that way. If it's an older card. If it is a more recent card, then you know that at least in a year, maximum a year, you will see that card reprinted. I'm not talking about older Konami, where you had to wait 2 years for them to reprint Ash Blossom. I'm talking about current day Konami, where they literally just reprinted Dominus Impulse 2 times over. Does it lower the price? It went from $90 to $30. Is it accessible to everybody? Not everybody, but more people. The tragedy of this shit comes in the fact that when it's the English market, if you're attuned to the game, you're actually like, you know, if you're paying attention, if you have your testing circle, luckily for you, hey, somebody saw that Tenpai was winning in OCG, and you know, the TCG and OCG are only a month apart, so you start to pick up your Tenpai. You start to pick up the pieces that you need before the general populace sees that, you know, this traction. It doesn't work with Vanguard, where a good example is Youthberg, right? If you wanted to play Youthberg, Phantom, because he looks cool, not because he's good, but just because he looks cool. Let's say you look at the set 14 listings and you say, okay, Dynast is $13.90, Drag Form is $13. That's not too bad. It's just a few cards. You shop around the rest of the set, you get your moons, you get everything for set 14. Oh, but wait, you need the cycler for this set. You need the cycler, and the cycler came out in the previous set in Parallectic Clash. And now that cycler has gone from a measly $9 all the way up to what? $27, $28, $24? It's jumped up $15 because the set released. But not just because of Youthberg. It also jumped up because Liskafel also had a Dragon Empire Phantom unit revealed. The problem with Cardfight Vanguard is we have telegraphed cards that are going to become expensive. I picked up my Habitable Zones the second that they became available on TCG Player because I knew I was going to play Youthberg, and I knew from the moment that it was revealed, even if it wasn't good, I was going to play it. I got lucky because I picked mine up for I think $10. If I go back to my order history and I look up Habitable Zone, it'll more than likely be $10 that I picked up mine. I think $7 or $10. But I had the foresight to pick my copies up. I got lucky because I just so happened to play Vanguard at the time that they revealed Phantom Youthberg, and you know, you put two and two together, Phantom Youthberg, you see a cycler. Oh yeah, you should pick up the cyclers. What is Bushiroad doing? Well, they got a shit ton of hate from the fact that they've decided to release 2 Crimson Moon cards. One that sucked, one that's okay. And then they said, okay, you know, the reason we did it is because there's going to be so many people playing, there's so many people that are going to be playing Phantom decks, and we got to make sure we have as many copies of these cards out there. It could have made it a common, but, you know, we want to make it a double R, so it's harder to pull, and we decided to just make a worse version of it as a rare so that we have an excuse as to sell you 2 different types of cards instead of just one of the same fucking card, just missing one line attacks for one skill. You know, instead of making it a common, we needed to sell 2 of them. But because of all the hate that we're getting on Twitter and online and anywhere else, you know, now we have to sell these 2 cards that we made this problem, and now we have to put it in every fucking set that has a Phantom unit. If the set has a Phantom unit, bet your ass it's gonna have a fucking Crimson Moon reprint. Now, you know what the cooler thing is? And listen, I know people hate the collab debate to death, but I'm gonna say this. Imagine opening up a booster pack. You rip open the pack. You look through the 5 cards that are inside that booster pack, and you see Vanguard, some random fucking collab taking up the room of a common, whatever. Vanguard, right? I don't even know how many cards are in a fucking pack. I just know that a collab card, or not a collab card, but yeah, collab card takes room or takes place of a common. I would much rather see reprints. If it's a fucking set that is selling Phantom units, every Phantom unit set has to fucking reprint the cycler. Now, if it's the set that the cycler debuts in, fine. Fucking whatever. Sell it as a triple rare, make your money that way. But if I want to play Welstra, if I want to play Zareth when the new form comes out, if I want to play Liskafal, if I want to play whatever Keter unit gets a fucking Phantom form, if I want to play any fucking like Phantom unit, I shouldn't have to go back to set 13 and set 14 and pray that my fucking cycler is cheap. Especially because these cyclers are not just cyclers that work for every deck, like Biscotti and the Pride cyclers and the Energy cyclers and this, you know, they work for a specific deck. So when people show off that, you know, oh, the cards are there's no stock of these cards, it's not a scalper. It's just people fucking, there's not enough supply. They cut down the supply. They didn't change the ratios. They made it worse, and then they decided to splash in a triple R pack. Like, listen, I'm gonna say this: those stupid fucking packs don't mean shit to case ratios, because you're adding an extra rare, or you're adding an extra like SR, R, or whatever the fuck. Like, it's not like, I wouldn't mind if it was a triple rare inside there, because maybe then you can make up for the low triple rare count. Maybe in a case you'll get a whole playset. You know, it's mind blowing that these booster packs, like, you should include a fucking triple rare. Like, you should double up the triple rare ratios or whatever. You know, like, hey, if you're going to include less booster boxes, but you're not going to change the amount of triple rares I get based off of 20 boxes, then you either lower the amount of triple rares in a main set or increase the ratios of triple rares that you give. It's insane. I don't know. To me, how can I recommend people play this fucking game if it's super hard to pick up these, like, cards? And we don't even know. Like, it's like, you know, if a Yu-Gi-Oh player comes in and you tell them, oh, these cards are kind of expensive, and they say, you know, it's okay, dude, it's okay. I'll pick up the cheap stuff now. When do you guys usually get reprints? Do you guys get tins? Do you guys get a reprint set, like, with an alt art? Do you guys get, like, a set where, like, you know, like, they'll put in the triple rares as commons and some commons and rares as SRs and above, or double Rs and triple Rs? No? Maybe I won't pick up the cheap pieces. Maybe I'll just go play Riftbound, or I'll play One Piece, or I'll just save my money for Naruto. You know, if Sasuke's in the game, I'm gonna play Naruto, by the way. It's, you know, we need something. A collectible tin that reprints all of the cards of the year. We need a revival booster. Or, listen, swap out a collab set. You know, not every booster set needs to have a collab. Maybe those EX slots can be used for reprints. You know, we didn't get a Luard and Shiranui reprint for set 12 because Viren took over, and in Japan Monster Strike took over. So, you know, even though collabs don't take up space in the booster set, it takes up space for extra cards that you can include, and that fucks us over as well. It's a physical card that's included in a pack that could be anything else that could make the game better, and instead it's a fucking JPEG. It's a fucking JPEG of an anime screenshot. They couldn't even make proper artwork. You couldn't have, like, the gall to make, you know, new art for it. But then again, you're only getting the license to the fucking anime / game. You're not getting the license to the actual fucking IP. So of course you can't make your own artwork for it. You're given artwork to use because you don't have full control of the IP. That's probably another reason why some of our main booster sets are delayed, because of IP problems. Then again, that's me talking out of my ass, so please don't take this literal. I did ask some of you guys. In my post, I said, folks, I will be making a video about what Cardfight Vanguard players desperately need: a proper reprint system. That is one, not lumped into a set, like how in English we got the reprint of Nebula Knight's Order in set 12. Well, we never actually had a first print of that reprint, which just made it even harder to get since it was in a different card pool. And two, is not adding new chase cards. My big problem with the reprint stuff is that they think, oh, older players are not going to pick up stuff that is meant for new players. So in order to get everybody to pick up these cards, like, you know, perfect example is the Liel and Jewel Master deck sets, which is entry product meant to get people to start playing the game. They decided to add 2 new Regalis pieces to the fucking game in that product. And so now you didn't just have newcomers fighting for that product. You also had people who wanted the new cards. So if you're going to make a reprint set, strict reprints. Nothing new. Maybe alt arts, but nothing new is, for like my opinion. To the game, just plain reprints. Similar to Yu-Gi-Oh's collectible tins, where the rarity bump and lower certain cards released in the previous year. In this case, I made a mock-up of what it could look like with chase cards from the first six sets of Divines. How would you like the reprints to be handled? And I'm asking this to you, the viewer, as well. How would you like reprints to be handled? And what would you want to be reprinted? Give me a list of cards that you want reprinted right now, so that hopefully maybe Bushiroad, if they can accept my potty mouth, they see this list of cards that desperately need reprints. Some of you did comment down below, which is awesome. I had one person that said they would like to keep it in sets, but at a lower rarity. In Master deck sets, but 2 a piece instead of 1. There were the breakaway decks and the icon deck prices. Tins also would work. Bushiroad Loki made them for Buddy Fight towards the end of its life, just in cardboard folios instead. Which, yes, Bushiroad, honestly, and this is how you can tell, like, it was a completely different team. But Buddy Fight did a pretty decent job with their reprints, although a little later in the game, but you know. Seasonal support evolve. So Matthew gave me this. He posted this, where every deck in the top meta in need of reprints of generic staples for those decks are printed at a common rarity, while it introduces new support cards for decks that have not been supported for a while, and maybe new forms for those decks. Flagbird Cough. I agree a little bit. I don't think we should include new cards to these things, because again, you're just gonna make everybody, like, this set should be for people who are getting into your card game or picking up pieces that they could not pick up initially. I don't think new cards need to be included in sets like these, mainly because you're just gonna add in another level of, you're gonna make vendors come in and want to pick these up. And I understand Vanguard is a tough game to vend. I know people lose a ton of money on Vanguard. So asking them to hold product, like, you know, like asking them to purchase product and you know, keep it on their shelves is asking a lot. But if you're a dedicated Vanguard vendor, you know, the types of products, these types of products are best for people who are trying to learn the game. Or not learn the game, but trying to get into the game, and again, trying to pick up the pieces that they couldn't pick up when they were first revealed. Somebody said, I'd love and think if they made this exclusive to the Western players, I'd avoid the reason why Bushiroad doesn't do this often, pissing off collectors and local shop owners in Japan. Bushiroad is known for catering to those type of people, and if they aggressively reprint cards the way Konami does in the West, those people would get mad because of their high value cards. They're referring to when in V, when Luard was first revealed, Nemain had there was a Nemain combo that you could use Nemain to call Dramp Hood to ride Blaster Dark, and then by the time you were at grade 2, you could go into PBO, and so for your first grade 3 ride with Luard, you had already met all the conditions to give critical to the board. It ramped up your playstyle, and so what they ended up doing is they did an emergency ban list with the main, but this was after card shops were paying I don't even say hundreds, but quite a bit. They were stocking up on the mains, and then as soon as they stocked up on the mains, Bushiroad released an emergency ban list, and a bunch of people got mad that their fucking investments were ruined by, you know, trying to keep the game healthy. And because of that, Bushiroad said, oh, you know what, we're so sorry, let me hold your dick, and we'll also not reprint VRs for a whole year just to make sure that booster sets do not, like, sit in your store shelves. And then they proceeded to release, Overdress, and then Overdress had the great set 1, and then Festival Collection came out, and now that's sitting on store shelves, and then set 2 is sitting on store shelves, and then set 3 is sitting on store shelves, and so on and so forth. They, cater to a vendor, great. Make a good product, it'll sell. But that's the key word. Make a good product, it'll sell. If it's a shit product, it's not going to sell, and maybe you shouldn't deserve to sell the product. But a revival collection for Western players would help a lot. It would help immensely. Especially the fact that we're so far into the fucking, if we're 3 months behind, we know what the metagame is. We know what you know how Konami will look at a card, release it, and then they'll rarity bump it into the West. Like, they'll release a rare that you can also pull as a secret because they have different rarities. Well, they'll see that rare is being played a lot. Like this new card, it's a hand trap for Synchro, Tuners, Harmonia. I think in Japan you can get Harmonia as a rare. But of course, the second that it came out in English, it didn't take a genius to know that it was going to be a secret rare and harder to pull. And now if you want to play, cool tunes at full power, you're going to have to wait a year for that to be reprinted. Is it a good business model? No, it sucks. But at the very least, when you'll be able to play the deck. And is it required to play the deck successfully? Also not really. You can find success without it. But that's, apples and oranges. Revival Collection was brought up where we got that Revival Collection. I think Revival Collection, holy shit, these are tongue twisters, man. Revival Collection would be pretty good, mainly because of the fact that, what's it called? Not only are you picking and choosing cards to reprint, but you could do Revival Collections for Mythish units, Phantom units, and now you just need to put in like a boss unit, support, and then in this case, let's do Keter Sanctuary. That's my bread and butter. Raziel and Rifistor, right? Yeah, Raziel, Rifistor. And then you have Blangmire and the Cycler. And then the bottom row, you could have Noberis, and then what's it called? You could have Soel, and then, the grade 1 and the grade 2 for Blangmire. I don't play the deck as often. But then in the bottom of that, you have just generic good stuff for Keter. NKO, Zero, Gancelot, Coco. And then, under that, the triggers. Reprint the triggers to fucking hell and high water. And this is honestly a pretty good opportunity to just also reprint all the over triggers. Even though I hate over triggers, it's always good to have them in rotation. You can do the same thing for Dragon Empire. You can do the same thing for every nation. You can give it some sort of theme, and after getting 1 or 2 cards within theme, then just go crazy and just reprint whatever you need. And you can definitely reprint product and make sure it has a lot of good stuff in it. It's not like, oh, you're blowing your whole load on one thing. It's like, yeah, you want to sell it, don't you? Oh man, but then you can't reprint it again. Yes, you can. Who said you couldn't? You can literally reprint it. Bushiroad is a game where you're literally buying, you are pre-ordering the product before the shit's printed. It's fucking print to order. So it's not like they're losing money for reprinting more product in the future. So we're getting pretty far. It's 29 minutes into it, and this was you see the mock-up, you've seen my arguments, you see my rants. You guys love these things. So yeah, next video is gonna be about formats, or not formats, but next video is probably gonna be about the mechanics that I like in Vanguard, or maybe I'll just make it a tier list. I think there's every YouTuber or Vanguard YouTuber did a fucking mechanics tier list, so I might just throw my hat into the ring and go ahead and do that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Happy Monday. Hope you enjoyed the 4th if you celebrate it, and I don't know, comment down below what card you want to be reprinted, and how you would do reprints. If Johnny Bushiroad came up to you and said, "Hey, you're the one in charge of reprint products. How are we gonna go? How are we gonna go about it?" And depending on your answer, I'll either send an emoji cookie, or I'm gonna send big old capital D for this is pretty good, because you guys are never wrong. Bye, everybody. Thank you guys for watching, and stay safe.